Hi, how's everyone doing? Today we're going to have a look at a song called Can't Stop by the Red Hot Chili Peppers. And it's a fantastic song. I use this quite a lot, around about just at the end of grade 2, going into grade 3. It's got a couple of nice little rhythms to it. Now what I do with this song, I've written a thing I call a drum guide. So rather than writing the whole song out note for note, I've written a guide which is like a map of the song, like a little chart. So it says like verse, and it's a groove, and it says do this 16 bars with a bunch of fills in it. So you've got all the main points written out so you can see the whole song mapped out clearly. But then there's a lot of opportunities to use your ears. So when it says play with fills, listen to the song and try and figure out some of those fills for yourself, or ask me or your teacher, right, to kind of figure them out for you. And I really like this way of doing it because you've got an element of reading, but you've also got a musical way of doing it, using your ears and listening to the song. I really like that. I think it's a nice kind of combination of two ways of learning. So I'm just going to talk you through a couple of the little grooves. The intro of this song starts with this build up. So again, you're using a floor tom and your snare drum here, but you're playing semi-quavers, 16th notes. So you've got to play this 1 yen, 2 yen, 3 yen, 4 yen. And that's actually, you've got to do it for 8 bars, which is quite a long time to keep that going. It's quite easy to get your hands wrong and start to go like that. You've got to make sure they're together with a crescendo, so getting louder across 8 bars. It's quite tricky. At the beginning, you might want to just play a bar of semiquavers or 8 bars of semiquavers going 1 yen, 2 yen, 3, like semiquavers on the snare drum, a single stroke roll. That will fit really well with the beginning of that. It'll work. Practice that because it's good practice, but it's quite tricky. Then your main verse pattern. It's this rhythm where you're bringing in little snare drums coming off the hi-hat. So you're playing an 8-beat, but you're introducing some off-beat 16th note snares. So it sounds like this. Okay, and I've written a little thing on there. You can count it out loud going kick, kick, snare, right, left, kick, snare, hat. So I've written these little K's and S's over the top of the music, okay? And the important bit is the bit in the middle going right, left, okay? So kick, kick, snare, right, left, kick, snare. Now this is such a common rhythm, right? A lot of people teach it to themselves. You'll hear it in all kinds of music. But you can make it sound very different with different kind of bass drum rhythms or different kind of accents. It can sound like quite a nice kind of funk rhythm. But in this song, it's more of a laid-back kind of rock pattern. So we've got nice big accents on the 2 and the 4 snares. But when we do the right, left bit there, you're actually going to play the snares almost as ghost notes, so much, much softer. Okay, so it's going to sound more like this. Okay, so it's got a different feel to it, which I think is really important, something to get used to, the idea of a rhythm that sounds very similar to another rhythm, but just playing it slightly differently gives it a whole different kind of, different kind of feel. It's nice. Anyway, at the bit at the end of the bar, there's a little sort of crush roll, a little kind of taking you into the next bar. At the beginning, you can leave that note out, or you could just play another little right, left, a little, just one single snare, just like that. So you're going. So it's up to you. Try the little roll thing, the little crush roll or drag, or you could do a single tiny note, or you could just leave that note out for the moment. Then you've got a rhythm in the chorus. Now, this is another syncopated rhythm, but instead of having a snare drum in between the hi-hat, you've got a bass drum coming in between the hi-hat. Now this is quite a complicated technique, and this is one of the first bars I always do with this technique. So the music should appear on the screen, and you're going to count. If you imagine at the beginning of an 8-beat goes 1 and 2, like that, 1 and 2. We had another bass drum in between the hi-hats on the and the 2. So we end up counting 1 and a 2. And the is a bass drum on its own. So it sounds like 1 and 2. And this is such a useful rhythm. 1 and 2. Okay, and you put it across the whole bar. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, and then there's a couple of crash cymbals in this bar, which are really important. Okay, so you end up playing a crash on the first kick and the third kick. Here, I hit the microphone. You're going 1 and a 2 and 3 and 4. Okay, now the chorus is 8 bars long, and it basically just does that over and over again. There's a little fill, we'll talk about that in a minute. And then at the end, there's a really important bit where it goes crash, crash. Okay, little 2 crashes at the end before it brings you back into the verse. Now, all of that pattern, the rhythm, and the little bit at the end, crash, crash, they all follow the guitar part. And again, I've talked about this on other videos, but it's super important to listen to the guitars, listen to the bass, listen to the other instruments in a song, and see how the drums fit in with them. So, for example, these crashes are really important because they follow a chord change. Okay. Now, what I would normally do in a normal drum lesson when I'm face to face is I would play along, so you can have a listen to that. And it's one thing that's missing on the online stuff. I can't play along with anybody. So I'm just going to do this now, and I'm going to try and play the whole of this chorus. So just have a quick listen. That chorus is going to go 1, crash, 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 crash. So you can hear those chord changes are exactly where you play those crash cymbals. Okay, so I'm going to play the whole chorus just so you can have a chance to play along with just a guitar, just another instrument. Okay, so I'll count you in. We'll do 8 bars of the chorus, including the end bit, which goes crash, crash. And you can either take a little fill back into the chorus, or you can just leave it there for a second. Okay, so if I count you in, we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Bar 5. Then here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Crash, crash. And then you're back into the verse pattern. Okay, so that's quite a nice thing to just kind of have a little play along, right, and see if you can keep in time with that. Okay, now there's a couple of little fills, and like I said, I want you to listen to the fills, use your own ears, and see if you can figure out A, what the fills might be, B, more importantly, where the fills are coming in the song. Okay, now I'll just give you a couple of little clues. There's a nice little fill that happens quite a lot, happens in the verse and the chorus, and it's basically this. You take a little fill going around the kit, 4-iana. Now, Chad Smith and the Chili Peppers, I've seen him play with a 4-piece kit where he doesn't use this tom, and I've seen him play with a 5-piece kit where he still doesn't use this tom, but he's got 2 floor toms. So you could do this differently. You could go and use 2 floor toms, or if you've got a normal 5-piece kit like we use at school, 1 note on each drum. Okay, now this comes in on beat 4 of the bar, so with a normal simple 8-beat, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4-iana. Without hitting the cymbal, I'll do that again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4-iana. Okay, but it comes in with both the rhythms. So if you play that verse pattern, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4-iana. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4-iana. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4-iana. And it's worth looping it. Just get good at it before you try and put it into the song. And then the chorus pattern, it'll come in the same place, beat 4 of the bar. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4-iana. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4-iana. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4-iana. And sometimes it'll have extra little bits. It might have a little fill before it. It might go, or it might go something like that. But if you just keep it simple for now, just get used to it, and then have a listen to the song and see where those little things differ. Okay. Now there's another little fill which is really, really interesting. I really like this fill, and it sounds like this. It crosses over a bar, which is quite unusual. You may not have done it before. So you're playing along the verse, and it's going like that, and then it'll do a little fill like that, and it sounds really odd. It kind of feels a little bit strange. So what I've done on the music that will appear on the screen and that I can email to you, I've done a little kind of sort of simple-ish version of this, which is split into 2 bars, and the first bar goes like this. So So you're coming in on the offbeat of 4 with a tiny little dead easy. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and up. But then you follow that with another bar which is not dead easy. This is very strange, and it's like you start the bar with a little fill. So instead of starting the bar kick, kick, snare, you start with another one of these. Okay, so it goes, okay, 1 and 2. So the second bar of this little pattern goes 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, it's really odd, and if you loop that around it sounds very peculiar. But if you put those two bars together, the first bar has this at the end of it, the second bar has that at the beginning of it. So you put them together and it sounds like this, which on its own is very straightforward. But putting it across a bar and a 1E sounds very strange, okay? So have a listen to it. You're going to go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and a 1E and 2. Okay? And you'll practice that as like a 2-bar pattern. Let's do it once more. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and a 1E and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay? And it's like a slightly simplified version of what happens in the original song. It's the same idea, but he puts little open hi-hats and little things in just to make it kind of sound a little bit nicer. But practice that first. It's a really useful little kind of odd idea. Okay, and then there's one big fill at the end, just before where there's a stop after the middle 8, and the drums come in with a big kind of I think it starts with a drag and it goes 1, 2. So that first bit, okay, you're coming in on beat number 3. You've got a nice little rhythm. And I'd use that sticking, little right-handed drag, so left, left, right. And then it comes into the rhythm the same as the fill we just did a second ago, but with a crash. So I'll do it once more. 1, 2. Like that. Okay, so there's a few little bits in it that are worth kind of practicing and worth listening to. But even before you think about any of those fills, it's a lovely song just to get the grooves right. So you could just play this song all the way through with a simple verse groove, chorus groove, and then the middle 8 is really, really straightforward. Kick, kick, snare, kick, kick, snare. You should all be able to read that by now. Okay, so you can start by just getting the grooves right. Play along with the song, get the song in your head, then start to put in little fills, then start to listen out for any more complicated fills and kind of bring it up that way. Okay, so it's a really lovely song for doing a few different bits. Okay, I'm going to do a little play along, try and join in, see how we go. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 3. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Can't stop, addicted to the shindig. Chop, chop, it says I'm gonna win big. Choose not to life of imitation. Distant close into the reservation. Street funk, the pistol that you play for. This funk, the feeling that you stay for. In time, I want to be your best friend. Eastside love is living on the west end. Knocked out before you better come to. Don't die, you know the truth is some do. Go write your message on the pavement. Burn so bright, I wonder what the wave meant. White heat is screaming in the jungle. Complete the motion if you stumble. Go ask the dust for the
Chorus.
answers.
1, 2, 3, 4.
The world I love, the tears I've dropped to be part of the wave. Can't stop. Ever wonder if it's all for you? The world I love, the trains I hop to be part of the wave. Can't stop.
1, 2, 3, 4.
It's time to. Sweetheart is bleeding in the snow cone. So smart, she's leading me to ozone. Music, the great communicator. Used to sticks to make it in the nature. I'll fit you into penetration. The gender of a generation.
coming up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Little stop coming up. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we got the big fill after 2. Here we go. 1, 2.
Can't stop addicted to the shindig. Chop chop, he says I'm gonna win big. Choose not a life of imitation. Distant cousin to the reservation. Default the pistol that you pay for. Just pump the feeling that you stay for. In time I hope to be your best friend. Eastside love is living on the west end. Knocked out before you better come to. Don't die, you know the truth is some do. Go write your message on the pavement. Burn so bright, I wonder what the wave meant. Kickstart to go and generate her. Sweet talk but don't intimidate her. Can't stop the gods from engineering. Feel no need for any interfering. Your image in the dictionary. This life is more than ordinary. Can I get you maybe even 3 of these? Coming from a space to teach you of the Pleiades. Can't stop the spirits when they need you. This life is more than just a read through.